and to be sharing with you all from the Bhakti Center Temple Room. Today we are discussing Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 71, verses 5 to 8. And we have some commentary with these verses as well. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So let me share my screen. There we are. Hopefully you can see that.
Yep.
Canto 10, Chapter 71, verse 5. I'll just chant the verse, the Sanskrit myself. Sabai durvi shaho raja nagayuta samo bale balinam api chanyesham bhimam samabalam vida. The invincible King Jarasandha is as strong as 10,000 elephants. Indeed, other powerful warriors cannot defeat him. Only Bhima is equal to him in strength. Purport: Sridhar Swami explains that the Yadavas were extremely eager to kill Jarasandha, and thus to caution them, Uddhava spoke this verse. Jarasandha's death could come only at the hand of Bhima. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur adds that Uddhava had previously deduced this from the Jyotir Raga and other astrological scriptures he had learned from his teacher Brihaspati. So yeah, that's one thing to know about Uddhava, is that he's a disciple of Brihaspati. Very, very wise, very, very knowledgeable, very learned. And so Krishna has asked him for advice here. And he's given his advice also based on his astrological knowledge. I know Jarasandha's birth chart. He's very powerful. No one can defeat him. He has the strength of 10,000 elephants. So a nice little observation from Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Virate satu jate vyo masata shohini yuta brahmanyo vyartito viprayer na patyakyati karhichit. He will be defeated in a match of single chariots, not when he is with his 100 military divisions. Now Jarasandha is so devoted to Brahminical culture that he never refuses the requests of Brahmanas. You see how powerful he is? He has 100 military divisions. And, you know, he's imprisoned 20,000 kings. So he's been able to amass a lot of military might, chariots, horses, elephants, and so on. Purport: it might be argued that since only Bhima could equal Jarasandha in personal strength, Jarasandha would be more powerful when supported by his huge army. Therefore, Uddhava here recommends single combat. But how could Jarasandha be persuaded to give up the support of his powerful army? Here Uddhava gives the clue. Jarasandha will never refuse a request from Brahmanas, since he's devoted to Brahminical culture. Some interesting contradictions there. A demon devoted to Brahminical culture. Verse 7. Brahmavesha daro gatva tam bhiksheta vrikodhara hanisyatina sandeho virate tavasanino. Bhima should go to him disguised as a brahmana and beg charity. Thus he will obtain single combat with Jarasandha, and in your presence, Bhima will no doubt kill him. Purport, the idea is that Bhima should beg as charity a one-to-one fight with Jarasandha. So Uddhava's recommending deception here, which is also interesting. This is not straightforward, virtuous conduct. This is diplomacy. And so, yeah, that's also noteworthy. So just excuse me here. We have one more verse to read. Text 8. Nibitam param ishasya vishvasarga nirodhaya hiranyagarbha sarvascha kalasya rupinastava. Translation, even Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva act only as your instruments in cosmic creation and annihilation, which are ultimately done by you, the Supreme Lord, in your invisible aspect as time. Purport, Uddhava here explains that in fact, Lord Krishna himself will cause the death of Jarasandha, and Bhima will merely be the instrument. The Supreme Lord, through his invisible potency of time, creates and annihilates the entire cosmic situation, whereas great demigods such as Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva are merely instruments of the Lord's will. Therefore, Bhima will have no difficulty acting as the Lord's instrument to kill the powerful Jarasandha. In this way, by the Lord's arrangement, his devotee Bhima will be glorified. So, a lot to explore here. Just taking notes to have the chat open as well, in case there are comments on that side. And yeah, we can be attentive to those. So these are some interesting points and maybe even apparent contradictions. Let's begin by just reflecting on the context. Where are we and what are we discussing? Like, what are Krishna and the assembly in Dvarka discussing? They are discussing, what's their focus here? Yeah. Okay, yeah. And quite specifically here, it's killing somebody. They are discussing
killing Jarasandha.
How to kill Jarasandha. Yeah, thank you very much. Voice from the computer. Sorry, I didn't get to see who spoke, but thank you very much. They're discussing how to kill Jarasandha. And I think this is interesting. This is a public discussion of political leaders. And means I don't know, public meaning that it is it's happening in a royal assembly. I would suggest that this is confidential as well because they are discussing strategy and the use of deception. For the deception to be successful, it can't be publicly broadcast, but it is it's not a discussion between two friends, intimates. This is an assembly of leaders, the heads of Dvaraka that sit with Ugrasena Maharaj and give him counsel. Sit with the king, Ugrasena, and give him counsel. They are here discussing how to kill Jarasandha. And so this is, I think, yeah, quite interesting. Why are we discussing this? Why is it important? Jarasandha is a bad person. He is a demon. And we have one evidence here. 20,000 kings have been imprisoned by him. Like what a tyrant, what a demon to invade upon. Krishna killed other kings. We've mentioned this in previous classes. Krishna did kill other kings. He never went against a peaceful king and just took their territory. But he did punish miscreant kings who were demoniac, but he never took their territory. Jarasandha has imprisoned 20,000 kings. So that's one reason why they're discussing Jarasandha, how to kill him. The other is that Yudhisthira Maharaj wants to perform Rajasuya, this sacrifice that requires all the kings of the earth to accept his sovereignty. So Krishna has asked for advice from Uddhava, the disciple of Brihaspati, Uddhava, the wise counselor. Krishna draws on him for guidance. So let's explore these three things then. Jarasandha, the demon, imprisoning 20,000 kings. Yudhisthira Maharaj and his ambitions. He wants to be emperor of the world, and Jarasandha is going to be an obstacle. Therefore, he needs to be dealt with. He needs to be addressed. And then finally, Uddhava's advice on how to achieve these things. So Uddhava is very wise. Krishna has asked for his counsel because of two arrivals. And this would have been discussed in previous classes, chapter 70, how Krishna is sitting in the Sudharma assembly hall. Chapter 69, you have, it's nice to see the links as well. Chapter 69, you have Narada Muni visiting. Is it 69? It's a chapter prior. You have Narada Muni visiting Krishna's palaces in Dwarka. And he sees how in each palace Krishna is doing something different, some different activity. Some palaces he's conversing with other senior leaders of Dwarka, and others he's engaged in affectionate, intimate exchanges with his family. In others he's giving charity. Some he's performing sacrifice, meditating, and so on. Narada marvels at this. And now in this chapter, we have Krishna, he's left home, and that's quite wonderful. And that each morning he leaves 16,108 palaces, and goodbye, Krishna's off to work, and it's byes and hugs, and there's these send-offs from home, and he leaves each of these 16,108 palaces and arrives at one Krishna at work, transcendental work. Krishna, everything he does is his play, but he arrives at the Sudharma assembly hall. And so now we have a description of what happens there at Krishna at the office, so to speak. And so we're receiving messages from different parts. They're bringing news. And one is this representative of 20,000 kings who have been imprisoned by Jarasandha and locked away in his fortress, Girivraja. These kings who refused to submit to him have been therefore conquered by him in his world conquest, and they're devotees. So they have sent this messenger, and he offers very beautiful prayers on behalf of the kings. Krishna, you are the supreme Lord. You are the destroyer of fear for those who are surrendered to you. We have had somewhat of a separatist attitude, trying to enjoy the material nature, and we gotten ourselves into trouble. Now we're coming to you to take shelter of your lotus feet. Please be merciful to us. We are prisoners, two types of prison. One is the shackles of material existence. That's the bigger prison, the material nature. We are also prisoners more immediately of Jarasandha. We are locked away in his dungeon, in his palace, and therefore we ask you, wielder of the disc, come and cut those chains and release us. They mentioned, Krishna, previously you defeated Jarasandha 17 times. One of those times, on the 18th time, you allowed him to appear to defeat you as you ran away from the battlefield. Now, please free us. Free us from this situation. And so we can just think about this a little, like these kings are devotees. They say they're, distracted by the material nature. That's the position of all of us in the material world. Read any of our Acharya's songs, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Narottam Das Thakur, they will say the same thing. I'm blinded by material existence. I'm drinking the poison of the desire for material happiness. Janiya, Shudiya, Bishakainu. These are devotees. And so we can ask already, where is Krishna's protection? Why are they having to ask for help? That's just one thing, because sometimes we might assume, I'm a devotee, Krishna will protect me. We have that hope. We have that belief, that faith that Krishna will protect me. Here are 20,000 of his devotees locked in dungeons. So we might wonder at that, and it might even shake our faith. Like, I'm always reaching out to Krishna, depending on Krishna, but here our devotees are in trouble. And we might also even go back further. These kings mentioned Krishna defeated Jarasandha 17 times and let him go. And so why didn't he deal with him then? Now we're having this discussion in Dvarka about killing Jarasandha. But Krishna has already dealt with, he already had the chance to deal with this menace, Jarasandha. And when you read that chapter, Balaram captures him. Like the first time they have their encounter, Balaram catches him, ties him up, brings him to Krishna. And Krishna says, Balaram, let him go. And Sukadeva Goswami tells us why. He says, Krishna thought about his purpose in coming to the material world at the request of the demigods to destroy the demons posing as the royal order. All these kshatriyas that have come together to support Jarasandha in his military campaign, they're all those demons. And so he says to Balaram, let him go, knowing that this humiliated, humbled Jarasandha is going to want revenge, and he's going to come back with another army, and Krishna and Balaram are going to do the same thing. They're going to destroy all those demoniac soldiers posing as kshatriyas, and then they're going to let him go. 17 times, Krishna has destroyed these massive demon armies that have come to attack Dvaraka. the 17th, not Dwarka, Mathura. On the final time, then Krishna has all of his family, all the Yadus transferred to Dwarka. He has Dwarka constructed, everyone's transferred, and then he lets it be. Okay, so Krishna had the chance to destroy Jarasandha. He didn't. Now we're in this situation. I'm wondering also, the 20,000 kings, were they in prison when Krishna was letting him go? Could he have freed those 20,000? We don't have any commentary on that from the Acharyas, but it is an interesting question as well. Just adds more complexity to this story, this narrative. Okay, let's go now to Narada Muni and his message. Narada Muni has arrived in Dwarka, and just as the messenger of these kings finished speaking, Narada, he appears, and Krishna receives him. Krishna asks him, Krishna knows why he's there. So he says, Narada, tell us about, you know everything, tell us about the Pandavas. So that's also wonderful. Krishna already knows what message Narada has come to give, because he asks the question that then delivers the news that Narada has arrived to give. He says, Krishna, Yudhisthira wants to be the emperor of the world, and he wants to perform a Rajasuya Yagya, that is a sacrifice whereby all the kings of the world will come and pay tribute. And so he wants your blessings for this. Narada Muni adds, he says, demigods and other kings, they will come and have your darshan at this premier sacrifice. Narada Muni says, even those who are fallen, they are purified by hearing and chanting your glories and meditating on you. What if they also had the chance to see you and maybe even to touch you? How they would all be purified. And so Narada Muni brings this news, and the Yadus who were there in Dwarka with Krishna, they hear Narada's proposal, but they're thinking, no, we need to deal with Jarasandha. He has 20,000 kings in his dungeon. Yudhisthira wants to be the emperor. Fair enough, good for him. But there are 20,000 kings here who are languishing in prison. And when you think about 20,000 kings, it's not just the kings. Think about their families. Think about their wives, their children. Think about their citizens. So not only these kings are suffering, but the suffering will be so much more. These are 20,000 kings who then represent 20,000 families and so many more citizens. And so the Yadus are a little bit hesitant to want to be involved with Yudhisthira's plans to be crowned emperor of the world. It seems a less important priority. And so Krishna, he turns to Uddhava. But before we go there, we could just reflect and just say, why does Yudhisthira want to be the emperor of the world? Aren't the devotees supposed to be humble and devoid of material ambition? Why is Krishna even considering helping him in this apparent material ambition when 20,000 kings are languishing in prison? Okay, so Uddhava's advice is most wonderful. And the part that I would like to bring our attention to is where, from what we discussed today, from what we read today, is that he says, aside from the deception, says, let Bhima approach him disguised as a Brahmana and ask for a fight. But then here's the key words. Bhima will surely defeat him because of your presence, or in your presence. In other words, if it is your will that Jarasandha is defeated, he will be. So this adds to the complexity of it all. It seems so if Krishna's will is what decides what happens, why are these 20,000 kings in jail? So let's grapple with some of these questions and some of this complexity. I know we're arriving at time as we come to the clincher here. Who is responsible? So this is an important question to ask. Who is responsible for what? Uddhava is saying Bhima can defeat Jarasandha because of Krishna's presence. He says even Brahma and Shiva are just acting as Krishna's instruments. So the question is Jarasandha also acting as Krishna's instrument? It would appear so, because Krishna let him go all those times to use him as an instrument. And so he's letting him go because he has some purpose that he wants to fulfill. But then why is Jarasandha being punished for being the instrument? We can also wonder at that. Who is responsible is an interesting question in our philosophy. Our Gaudiya Vaishnava philosophy, the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita. Because when we read the Gita, we find that there are three responsible causes, responsible parties. It is us, you and I, souls, making choices. Jarasandha making choices for himself, going and leading armies and conquering other kings and imprisoning them. It's Krishna who sanctions our will, our desire according to our karma. And the third doer described in the Gita is material nature itself, the material cause. So just to reiterate on those who we are willing certain things, we desire certain things. Then there is Krishna who is within our hearts, witnessing our activities, witnessing our thoughts even, our desires. Nityo nityanam, chaitanas chaitananam, yoma vinadati kamam. Krishna is the one among so many eternals. He is the primal cause. He is Savasya Chaham Hridi Shani Vishto, within the hearts of all living beings. Matas Mritir Jnanam Apo Hanam Cha. He is also, so yeah, he's Paramatma, and he is the, what does Arjuna say? Adidevam Ajam Vibhum. You are the Supreme Lord, the Supreme Power. Then there's the material nature, because Bhagavad Gita said, Prakriti kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvasaha ahankara vimuratma karta aham iti manyate. We desire, we think that we're very powerful, that we can do so many things. But this verse of the Gita says, because of ego, false ego, you think yourself the doer. I remember once, can't remember what it was, the temple president in Perth, I was serving in the Perth temple. The temple president asked me to do something or why I had done something. I can't remember the specific context. I gave an answer, he wasn't happy with it, and he walked away and he said, Ahankara vimudatma karta aham iti manyate. I knew the verse, but I went and looked it up. Bewildered by false ego, he thinks himself the doer of activities that are actually performed by the three modes of material nature. And that's just one way that verse has stayed with me. This verse saying that it's actually the three gunas making us act. So one, we could say Jarasandha is responsible for what he does. On the other hand, we're told by the Gita, no, it's the three modes of nature that make us act in certain ways. When we're overcome by rajas, then we act out rajas. When we're overcome by sattva and tamas and so on. But then we're told, not even a blade of grass moves without Krishna's sanction. Krishna is the supreme power. So Murijan Prabhu says this is the contradiction of our philosophy. We have these three different responsible parties. Krishna, not even a blade of grass moves without his will. Material nature that apparently does, the three forces that make us do things, and then we ourselves. And how this contradiction gets resolved, and Michael, I see your hand, so I will come to you. How this contradiction gets resolved is most wonderful, and that is that Krishna is fulfilling the desires of all living beings. Jarasandha has a desire to be a great conqueror. Krishna allows him to do that. At the same time, he's also engaging him in fulfilling the purposes of the demigods, of bringing different demon armies for Krishna and Balaram to defeat. At the same time, these kings, yes, they are devotees, but they also have some purification that they need to go through. Yes, they have taken shelter of Krishna. When you take shelter of Krishna, you're no longer under the sway of the material nature. Krishna's mercy comes in many shapes and forms and sizes, and the surrendered devotee is ready to accept that, ready to accept every situation as, Krishna, what are you teaching me? Krishna, what do you want me to understand, to learn? I accept this as your mercy. And so, yes, Krishna's protection is also there for these kings. At this stage, his protection is there for them in the form of experiencing prison. Next will be that he will go and personally be there and give his darshan, and he'll give them instructions on how to rule as kings, as devotees, without attachment, offering everything to him, same instructions that he gave in the Bhagavad Gita. He'll arrange for them to be nicely bathed and honored and given chariots and returned to their homes. That lies ahead. So Krishna's mercy is also there for the kings. And yes, he's using his material nature to accomplish these things. So our free will is important in all of this. We're telling Krishna what we desire, whether we want to be away from him, trying to enjoy the material nature separately from him, or surrender to him and receiving his mercy. Uddhava, he knows all of this. And that's why he's saying, Krishna, whatever you desire, it will happen. If you desire for Jarasandha to be killed and you use Bhima as your instrument, that'll be wonderful. At the same time, Yudhisthira Maharaja's sacrifice can be achieved. So just a little bit on that as we come to questions and comments. Yudhisthira's desire, his ambition, yes, his ambition is also wonderful. He wants everyone to come to Rajasuya Yagya and see Krishna and have Krishna's darshan. And later he'll tell Krishna, when Krishna says, Yudhisthira, why do you want to do this? And Yudhisthira says, I want everyone to see the power of your devotional service. And so we don't always understand the Vaishnava and what the Vaishnava is doing. Why does the devotee need that building in New York City? Why does the devotee need that car? Why does the devotee want that job even? Or that how these... Don't try to understand the heart of the devotee based on externals. The devotee is always thinking about Krishna and Krishna's pleasure and Krishna's service and how to fulfill Krishna's, expand Krishna's glory in the world using various means. So the materialist doesn't understand that. In terms of Uddhava's will, we'll see in the Bhagavatam, his prayer, his ultimate prayer is, Krishna, let me become a blade of grass in Vrindavan. that the gopis, the Braj gopis headed by Srimati Radharani, will walk upon me and I'll get the dust of their lotus feet on my head. Okay, so lots of very, very interesting topics that have arisen from these verses from this section of the Bhagavatam. So we'll go to Michael, because Michael, I saw your hand.
Hare Krishna.
And I see your question written as well. Yes, please, Michael.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Thank you for a wonderful class. I'm going to try to phrase the question. I try to put it in the chat, but I'm not sure if I made it clear enough. But in your lecture, you mentioned something about the Brahmanas inspiring to Bhima to kill this king demon. And yet I was kind of confused that this king demon was so favorable toward the Brahmanas. Please excuse me if I misunderstood something today.
Yeah, good. Thanks, Michael. Thanks for the question. So what Uddhava is suggesting is that yeah, it's an interesting contradiction that you're bringing us to explore further. I hinted at it and, let it go. And but it is there in the text that Jarasandha is very favorably disposed towards Brahmanas, and then the purport says, and Brahminical culture. And so what Uddhava is suggesting is that Bhima, rather than going to Jarasandha as a king and saying, Jarasandha, it won't happen because Jarasandha is surrounded by guards and bodyguards and armies. And so Bhima will need to also approach him with another army. So it'll be two armies that will be fighting with each other. And Uddhava is saying it'll be difficult to get close to him. So he's saying, go dressed as a Brahmana, unarmed. Some deception, but maybe for a higher purpose, then may have its place. Go unarmed to Jarasandha, dressed as a Brahmana, and ask for charity. Because every day, Jarasandha, in his court, he receives Brahmanas, and he says, what can I do for you? And the Brahmana says, I would like some charity. So here's, have some cows, have some grain. Ask me what you need. Jarasandha would give it. He was very liberal in giving charity to Brahmanas. And so one of those Brahmanas, or it'll be four of them, they'll arrive. Jarasandha will say, these Brahmanas don't quite look like Brahmanas. They look quite stout and powerful. And I see the mark of the bow on their shoulders and other indicators, but okay, they're here as Brahmanas, and so I'll receive them as Brahmanas. What can I do for you? And Bhima will say, we're here for a fight. And so in terms of Jarasandha being a demon who supports Brahmanas and Brahminical culture, we can ask about that. And that is, you'll see, demons like Hiranyakashipu, Jarasandha, very powerful. Part of their power is their material piety. So they understand karma. They do bad things, but they also understand that by doing good things as well on the side, they can get the benefit of that. And so while Jarasandha will go out for his world domination, subjugate other kings, imprison them, put them in the dungeon, at the same time, on the other side, it's like like the mafia, for example. You might have a mafia don who's out, people being murdered. Meanwhile, he's at church, confessing sins or something. So yeah, Jarasandha's like that. Thank you. Thanks, Michael. Yeah, it's funny. Any other comment or question? Bruce, Prabhu?
Okay, Hare Krishna. Can you hear me okay?
No, they're saying, Michael's saying we can't hear you. You got to get closer. No, he wants you closer. Oh,
Okay, Hare Krishna. Wonderful class. Stupendous. Thank you so much. One question you asked was, why does Yudhisthira want to be the king? Why does he want to be the ruler? He's supposed to be a humble guy and not be satisfied in devotional service. And it's a really good question. Of course, we know that being a king is not just like a cushy spot where you get opulence and, you're prominent like that, but it's a great responsibility to be a leader, even to be a father in a family, even to be a husband or a wife, because it says, don't do that. Scripture says, don't do that unless you're prepared to deliver your constituents, your spouse, your children, your students from repeated birth and death. So it's a difficult job. It's an important job, and it's taking on a responsibility. Some people might shy from that kind of responsibility, but Yudhisthira is taking this on as for the sake of pleasing Krishna and for the sake of caring for the people, right? Anyway, talking to you.
Here. Right. Thank you very much. Okay, we have 2 minutes remaining. Yeah,
I have a quick,
Kumari.
well,
Yeah,
I have a question.
a comment. Most welcome.
Question. What if you're just not attracted to this part of the Leela? Like, what do you do with yourself? Like, there's some parts of Krishna's Leela where you're really attracted, and then other parts it's like, okay, I'm just gonna listen. What do I do with that?
So all of Krishna's activities are exciting for us, right? Because we love Krishna. And so like as a mom, then you have your kids and you have your kids at home and you have your kids that go to school and then they do sport and they do some things that, maybe you prefer having them at home, maybe you prefer them at school. But so there will be different parts of the day or your relationship with your kids that are more exciting or less. And so, but it's all your kids' activities. Sometimes it's a game that you're going to go to and watch that maybe you have other things that you're also worried about and need to be doing, but you're there at the game because you're supporting your kid. And so all of Krishna's pastimes are important for us. He's Mahavishnu in the causal ocean, breathing universes, part of what he does. He is the different avatars, Parashuram, some avatars will excite us more. Other avatars, maybe less. I don't know, Matsya, Korma. And then there's Krishna in Dwarka, and then there's Krishna in Vrindavan. So some parts of his pastimes will be most wonderful and exciting for us as followers of Lord Chaitanya. Then we focus particularly on the Vrindavan pastimes. But then the other pastimes are also glorious and wonderful. And so, yeah, as we come to love Krishna, then we'll appreciate all of these activities. Thank you, Krishna Kumari. Haribol. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Aham Pachami. Radha Murida in Bhaktisiddhanta Yoga.
Shri Radha Nita Gorge just Bhagavatam Ki Shri Prabhupada Ki The lotus feet of our spiritual master are the only way by which we can take the devotional science.
Hare Krishna, thank you, Manoharji. Thank you very much, Shripalat Prabhu. A wonderful class. Thank you. We can't hear you, Shripalat Prabhu. Are you talking to us? Or to Radha Mulidar? Are you reciting the prayers?
Perfection that fulfills all desires. Thank you. Signing up. Harival.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, Hare Krishna. Yeah, we are all imprisoned kings and princesses. This is our situation, and Krishna comes to the rescue. Okay, anyone wants to speak?
I just wanted to add something to my comment earlier today, Prabhu.
Please. Yes.
I went to the beach. I went to the beach yesterday. I went to Coney Island, right? And I said, you know, Krishna, give me the opportunity, maybe if I can, to preach, you know, if I can. So I went to the beach and I took my son to Coney Island. We had a beautiful time, beautiful time. But I never really got the opportunity to preach. So I was like, Krishna, what happened? Why didn't I have the opportunity to preach? What happened? So I said, please, if there's another opportunity, please give me that opportunity to preach. But at the beach, I was attracted to this very, very old man. Remind me of my father. My attraction was because of the way he handled himself, right? And I think that's why Krishna didn't want to give me the opportunity to preach, because of what I was attracted to. My father had some really bad qualities, but he had some really good qualities too. So I was talking to this man. He's like a mafia boss. He was talking to me about you know, if you get a job, you know, off the books and whatever. Anyway, make a long story short, I go home with my son, right? And then the morning comes today, and at 3 o'clock in the morning, I said, Krishna, if another opportunity comes to preach, please allow me to. Lo and behold, 3 rounds into my japa, I met someone who I can preach to. I talked about Krishna consciousness. It was amazing. Just wanted to share that experience. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you. Yeah, we should worry. Krishna is always on time. We submit our requests, and then Krishna is always on time. We cannot rush him up. We cannot tell him what to do and how to do it, but we can be certain that he will come through on time. Krishna is always on time. Okay, Bhima Prabhu has his hand raised, followed by Narottam Nitai Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. I
Hare Krishna.
unfortunately, Hare Krishna. I unfortunately missed the class today. Was it about Bhima and Jarasandha?
Yeah, I
Okay.
told you.
Yes, I saw that on the text. Well, believe it or not, I very rarely miss class, but I just wanted to say two things. One was that actually the reason why I missed it is because I was killing my own Jarasandha, and that's all I'll go into it. Krishna sometimes gives his devotees, and that Jarasandha, it wasn't somebody outside myself, that was somebody inside myself. So I had some business to deal with, and I had to deal with it in much the same way Bhima dealt with Jarasandha. So, anyways, that being said, I wanted to say that is in regards to what William was saying about being given an opportunity to preach. I just wanted to say that we have to take under consideration that our happiness around our family, and whether it be taking your son to Coney Island and having a beautiful time, and that son, who is very, very, very important to William, and William is very, very, very important to his son, and to have a good time and to be happy, especially for William, to be happy around his son and to share that joy is the most important form of preaching that can ever take place. We can use words, we can quote scripture, we can even hand a person a book, but we have to take care. They say charity begins at home, and the most important type of preaching that can be done is to take care of ourselves and to spread the love first and foremost within ourselves, to understand that Krishna is right there within ourselves. Krishna is right there loving us. So we have to learn to love ourselves, and then we have to reach out and share that. This is not about renunciation. This isn't about going away from people and concentrating on Krishna by detaching yourself from your family. This is about sharing the love, because Krishna shares his love with us, and so to whom much is given, much is expected. So I just really felt that when William was talking about, because I know what William goes through. I talked to him about it, and for him to spend time sharing that joy of just the everyday with his children, that's the highest form of preaching. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Bhima Prabhu. Such a valuable point. Yeah, William Prabhu, preach to Pepito. He's available. You live in the same apartment. And preaching, like Bhima Prabhu said, it's not always words. It's also actions and affection, kindness. Let Krishna shine through our character. That's a very powerful preaching.
It's
Okay.
very interesting. I took a lot of photos that day, so he will never forget this day. He was so happy. You should have seen him. He built a prison, out of sand. He built a prison. I'm like, Papito, but why are you building a prison? But he built a prison, right? And he built 2 holes. And he was like, words cannot describe how happy he was. And I'm very thankful for Bhima's comment. Thank you very much, Brother Bhima.
Thank you, William Prabhu. Okay, we have Isaiah. Isaiah, go ahead, unmute yourself. Isaiah is our youngest listener today.
Hare Krishna.
Nice. Hare Krishna, Isaiah. Thank you for that. Thank you. That's what the imprisoned kings heard. Hare Krishna. They were so happy. when they were rescued. Okay. Narottam Nitai Prabhu, please.
Dhanavad. So I wanted to share. Today I got a message from someone I had distributed books to. She was someone I met online. She is from Afghanistan, of all places, and she was here in the States. I distributed Srila Prabhupada's books to her, and when she went to India, to Delhi, and then for Radhashtami, she was in Vrindavan. She went herself, you know. And then she sent me a message today, and she's like, "You changed my life." She said, "I remember, you were chanting Hare Krishna with me when I was in trouble. You distributed books to me. You're a great soul. I wish you understood how great you are. I may be blessed, but you helped me access my blessing." So she showed me like a lot of love today. You shared the stories and knowledge, and then she quoted a couple verses from the Bhagavad Gita that, for one who explains this supreme secret to the devotees, pure devotional service is guaranteed, and at the end will come back to me. So it was just very heart touching to see that one of my book distribution pursuits has culminated into devotee going to Vrindavan, and then just being very grateful that I was able to distribute books to her. So a testament to basically all of you guys too, because it was in New York City when I first heard. Well, when I was young, I was like 9 years old. 10 years old, riding on my bike, and then I was one Mataji sitting in the park, and she just said Hare Krishna. That was like the first time I heard Hare Krishna in my life. So it's all a testament to all of you, all of us, mostly you devotees, that were able to do that. So I just wanted to share that. It's a very heartwarming experience, and I can't say it as well as her because she was in the moment and really expressing her gratitude. But I just wanted to share that with you guys. It changes lives completely. Right?
Thank you, Narottam Nitai Prabhu. Yeah, sharing bhakti feels so good because Krishna is pleased. And this girl is happy because Krishna is happy. And you're happy because Krishna is happy. I'm quoting Adipurusha Prabhu. He always says that. Thank you. Okay. Has everyone spoken in line with Guru Sadhu and Shastra? Adipurusha Prabhu?
Hare Krishna, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah. Mataji asked a really good question before. What do you do about if you don't feel attracted to this particular pastime? Right? She was asking that. And of course, Sripalad gave an excellent answer. Not to contradict that, but our understanding is that we come to the class as an offering to Krishna. Anything we do that has a hint of, do I like it, do I not like it? Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, everyone is born into delusion based on desire and hate. On the mental platform, I like this, I don't like that, I like this, I don't like that, me, 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 me. And that the problem is not anywhere else except within my own heart, that my attitude is, do I like this? Is this what I want? But when we switch and say, Lord, I'm here for you, and the benefit is there, just like we mentioned recently, Prabhupada said, if you go into sunshine, even if you don't understand the process of the dermatologist how the sun gives you a suntan, you will get a suntan. The process works. So we expose ourselves. We come to class on the basis of the instruction and the discipline of the spiritual master. This is what I do each day, and I'm here for Krishna's pleasure. And it has a healing effect, and we can be grateful that there's an opportunity. And like Sri Prahlad said, in the beginning, you may not feel all that spontaneous attraction, but like a jaundiced person, it may taste bitter because we're in a disease condition. But if we keep taking it, the sweet taste will come through. Anyway, we hope that's a contribution. Will go to Prabhupada.
But is it okay to have a favorite pastimes
Of course.
Less favorite pastimes? Is that?
Yeah.
What is your favorite pastime?
coming to Bhagavatam class? Is it if there's a point where you stop thinking about that, what I like and I don't like, and you just try to please Krishna with whatever situation he sends you to. Some people were complaining to Radhanath Swami, well, the classes here aren't so good. He said, stop thinking about its entertainment. Go there to please the Lord, and do it as develop that regulation habit, and progress will come.
Vijayashikha Prabhu says, it becomes like a game when something happens and we try to see, can I extract some Krishna consciousness out of this situation, out of this Leela? It becomes an exciting quest, searching for Krishna. It's exciting when you're playing a game, trying to see Krishna behind every situation, behind every Leela, even those lists of names in Chaitanya Charitamrita, all these sampradayas, they're like dozens of verses with just names. Even there, it's kind of a difficult level in the game. Okay, can I see Krishna there? Can a good class be given on this verse? It's kind of exciting. Can I see Krishna here? Can I really appreciate this pastime? It's a little bit challenging, but it's also exciting. Vaisheshika Prabhu points that out.
I was thinking about those parts of the Bhagavatam where it says this one had 2 daughters and this one had a son, and I was thinking, well, what we're hearing here is about the extent of Krishna consciousness, how it's how many generations there are and how many varieties of people there are, and they're all part of our family. Krishna consciousness is not just the 6 people that are in the temple room today.
Yeah.
It expended through time and space and through, countless devotees. How wonderful!
Amen.
How wonderful is Krishna?
Thank you. Even the Bhagavatam itself builds it up towards 10th canto. There's a build up, and there may be some less exciting parts.
Why not? Okay.
Yeah. Is Das speaking?
No.
What's your favorite pastime, Das? The lists of names?
He asked you.
I concur.
Das is very shy.
Yeah. I had no idea he was introverted. He's the opposite of that in reality.
I'm both.
You're both. Okay. All right. Krishna Kumari, would you like to comment?
Can you hold that so I can draw?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hold on.
I really appreciated the last comment you made, Adi Prabhu, about like it not having to be entertained. I think that's awesome.
Yes, but it is.
I did listen to Sachinanda Swami last night, and then I made my daughter listen because I thought, oh, maybe this will get her. Sometimes you're looking for something really like juicy that you think somebody else might be attracted to.
Yeah. I play Journey Home in the car, and my daughter likes it. It's captivating. It has so many stories that are fun and exciting. We're at the portion where Radhanath Maharaj is meeting Srila Prabhupada. And we just got home, and she goes, no, please, let it keep playing. It's the interesting part. He got to the interesting part, finally. I was so happy within that she took interest in that. As a parent, I was very happy. Okay. All right, we need a finisher. Who wants to be the finisher? Isaiah already said Hare Krishna. He said it all already, but still. Let me nominate the finisher. Okay, who's the most introverted person here? Okay, Joshua Prabhu, finish it off if you can. There.
Just want to say how wonderful is Krishna.
Nice. Where did you learn that? Where did you learn that?
I learn it from hearing it from Artie all the time. I said maybe he's on to something.
Yeah, he's definitely onto something. Thank you, Josh.
Yeah.
Perfect. That's a perfect finish. All right. Have a wonderful Sunday, dear devotees. Thank you for your association. Hare Krishna will love you. Hare Bol.